What's up, guys? Heading to the shop, driving Mara's car. I got Mara's snow tires, and while it's beautiful, sunny, and 70, well, it's actually 37, it's like winter almost. It's almost Thanksgiving, so time for Mara's snow tires. She drives like, I don't know, over 1,000 miles a week, sometimes 1,500 miles a week. And, you know, she goes into Massachusetts, and I-90 going into Massachusetts goes up over this big giant mountain, and it gets a lot of snow, and I'd hate to have my lady go spinning off the road because she doesn't have the proper equipment on her vehicle to keep her safe. I recommend you do the same. Jack has had bald summer tires on his Audi since I've known him. Last year he got stuck in the parking lot on flat ground and there was this much snow. So snow tires do a big thing. If you live in the Northeast, get yourself some snow tires. Contact your local retailer. Get yourself some fine winter tread. All right, so the time has come for me to cut my quarters. I gotta be honest, I've never done this. I'm kind of like, okay, do I want to just cut the whole quarter out and then, you know, have the over fender go on, you know, like this. That is what it covers, well, sort of. You know, so I just cut everything out, or do I only cut out like like this area, you know? It's you know, when I look at like all the comp cars and stuff, everything is totally cut out, and there's just like a little flange where there's like, you know, some riv nuts mounted, which is where the overs would get like bolted to. I don't know, like, I guess I'm just gonna start cutting a little at a time. You know, Matt and Timmy are like, just cut out as little as possible, just because the sheet metal that's there will still give it a bit more strength, which I totally understand. That makes sense. So I guess I'm just gonna do this. It's kind of I don't know. The car's lasted a long time. It's an 87. There's no rust. This is, you know, a stock quarter. I mean, literally, this is like the only real rust, and it's not like rot, it's just a little surface rust. And then this is just from when a tire exploded and kind of hit that and bent it a little. But anyways, I don't know. I get sentimental when it comes to cutting things apart that, I shouldn't say I get sentimental, I don't know. But I'm also just like, oh, geez, you know, I don't want to mess it up. And I think this is the feeling, because I've never done it. So regardless, I'm just gonna cut a little bit out and I don't know, go from there, see what happens. You can always cut more. That's the thing. It's always difficult to add metal. To cut it out to again and again and again is the way to do it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I guess that doesn't matter. I can bend that out at another point. So I think, well, there's probably some spot welds in here on that edge, but I'm gonna trim this first and try to peel this back to see what's going on with what the quarter is attached to. Maybe this way. whipping this thing at 1,000,000 RPM. Like, you have so much more control. Like, you don't need to cut with the thing at spinning as fast as this will go. So just go, you know, a little bit and then just kind of score it a little bit at a time. I'm pretty much just doing, you know, this tape line. For whatever reason, I'm just going like a blade's thickness on inside of it. So I'm cutting through the tape and then the metal. You know, you could use the tape line as a guide. One thing, you know, like with chopping cars and stuff like that, one little trick to do is to do a tape line and then just spray some spray paint on it, and then you can pull the tape off and then you have like a paint line. Because what happens is sometimes as you're cutting this, you know, it might heat up or whatever, and then all of a sudden your tape line, if accidentally your tape line gets ripped off, you don't have it anymore. Where like if you were to, you know, tape this and just miss some spray paint on there, that spray paint line really isn't going to go anywhere. You could use Dykem too, which is like layout fluid, but that's like kind of overkill. Literally, like, I'm just doing this because it's this small and I'm not too concerned. But like if you were to try to make like precise cuts, like if you're chopping a car, doing that thing with just some spray paint works really well. So. So this cut isn't through the metal. I just literally scored the metal. No way. So like the quarter is literally, so check this out. The quarter is glued, or that's like, I don't even know, is it dum-dum? Yeah, it is. Like the inner wheelhouse has this like glue on it. If you see, like, it's literally, that's so crazy. You can see that's like the only tiny bit of rust that's on the car. Crazy. Yeah, it's probably just a couple little spot welds or whatever. Crazy. No way. That's too funny. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do for sealing this to this, because that, if you look in there, that's like the inside of the car. This is just the wheel well or whatever. Like you can, here, let me see. So I don't know if you can see in there, but that's in the trunk. So I'm gonna try to use these dividers here, and they're set to 1/2 inch. So I'm just gonna like put them here and then scribe like this. Well, I can't do it with one hand, but, and then I'm gonna cut on the scribe line. And so the inner fender is gonna be a tad longer, and then I might hammer it like up, like hammer it up flat, and then figure out how I'm gonna attach it. I mean, I've seen guys do a lot of different things as far as like pie cut, like just putting a bunch of slices and then hammering it up. But I think I might try to just do this cut here with the dividers, or scribe it with the dividers, and then trim on that line, and then just see where it's at. Maybe I can hammer it up a little bit, and then, you know, see if I can put, like, I don't know, this, I mean, doing something like this just with dum-dum might even work. Really, I'm just trying to seal the, you know, seal the car up, because as tire smoke goes in here, I don't want it to, you know, go into the car this way and it'll fill the car with smoke. So I need to seal this up as best I can. Obviously, if it was like totally welded, that would be the best thing, but I think maybe just something like this might do the trick, like dum-dum or foam or something. I don't know, like, that's kind of ghetto, probably not foam, but maybe this dum-dum stuff, that's what it's called. That's the name, dum-dum. It's like a tar kind of material. They've been using it in cars for a long, long time. So we'll see. Just gonna trim this out and see what happens. It's really hard to see, but you can kind of see that scribe line. I'll be fine to cut on that line, so I can see it. So if I cut it down, straight down maybe, I don't know, we'll see. We got to make sure that this is enough clearance for what I'm looking to do. I might, I don't know, might pop my coilover off. Matt Brown gave me the idea to pop my coilover off and just cycle the suspension with the tire all the way up to see what's the maximum height that it's gonna go, ever. But I mean, really, it's, I mean, we're pretty good right now, I think. So, I mean, literally, I can hammer this out and then put something in between there to maybe seal it. I'm not sure. I got to figure out what I want to do. I'd rather not weld that whole thing up, but maybe that's what I'll do. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Loose. You want me to try?
Yeah, would you?
Bust my ass.
What? Oh.
This thing was in here.
What's up, guys? I am not really sure when the last time I filmed was. So, Sunday, I'm here at the shop. I literally started cutting the quarters out of this, and then we like put a whole new electrical service in and just did a whole bunch. Like, then we had Thanksgiving. Like, it was just crazy, like last whatever few days, week or whatever. But anyways, I'm back on my RX-7. I ended up cutting more out, only because these wheels are 17s, and I'm probably going to be running, I think, 18s, like a 255 or 265 40 18. So that size is like about 1 inch taller overall than this tire. So what I had originally cut out, and then I disconnected the coilover and jacked it up. So this wheel here comes up, and it, like, you know, the suspension basically gets finished. You know, it'll never be able to go that far at this point. But then with an 18, I figured, oh, well, I better cut more and not have to worry about any rubbing or whatever. So anyways, I hacked a bunch more out. So now what I'm gonna do is bend this lip over. I don't know. We'll see this if this rubber, or I'm sorry, this plastic hammer does the trick or not. I'm not really sure. I should be able to stretch this out to be able to get it to kind of come up like this. I've seen guys like cut slits in it. Hopefully I don't have to do that. I think I have a couple other methods that might work, but we'll see once I get into it. I don't know. I might be 5 minutes into this and I might be cutting slits into this, which is not really what I want to do, but that's what I might have to do. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. I just started tapping this thing with a hammer and it's like, seems to be doing this one-handed. Not really as easy as it looks. All right, getting there. Remember how I cut this a little longer, and reason for that is basically giving myself enough of metal that this can bend up and then hopefully meet with this so I don't have to make like a filler piece. We'll see. I mean, I'm just kind of going back and forth. So like as you see, like you hit it there, it popped that down there, but now when I hit that up, it popped that back down. So you almost have to have to work your way around, because every time it's like every time it like folds like that, it's where you're stretching the metal. So you just kind of have to keep going back and forth until it's somewhat decent. So I'm just gonna set this thing, or actually I don't know, I'll film when when I get it closer. I'm sure you guys don't need to see me swinging a hammer. All right, as you can see, it's kind of getting there. There's a little bit of a gap. I kind of cut this a little bit too short, but I'm not too concerned. That gap is an easy gap for me to fill with the MIG welder. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go a little bit, I'm just gonna like get this good, tack it, and then kind of work my way around, tacking it as I go. Because the one thing I'm realizing is as I'm hitting it up, I'm also like, as I'm hitting up, I'm kind of putting more crown in it, because it's pretty flat. The top of the wheel well doesn't come down anymore. So I'm literally cutting it so it's the top of the wheel well here. You know, this part is flat. It doesn't really arc down any longer. So what if I keep hitting up here, what it can do is kind of push the metal up, and then and I guess at the same time shorten this. So what I'm trying to do is not lose this. So I'm going to tack it, kind of hammer it, tack it, hammer it, tack it, and kind of work my way around, and I think it's going to work great. One thing I see all the time, and not just like with beater drift cars or whatever, I always see people online welding and not getting rid of the paint. So anytime there's, you know, anything here other than bare metal, if you go to weld, it's all of that shit, it'll burn off, but it's like putting impurities into the weld. And I know this is just literally a wheelhouse getting welded to a quarter that's gonna go under an over fender, so you're really never gonna see it. But it's just good practice to, when you're gonna weld something, DA it. Like I have, you know, I just use an 80 grit on a DA, and then what it'll do, here, kind of feather it out like that. you know, clean it up. You don't have to go crazy. I like to use 80 grit on a DA. You can use like 36 grit on like a whiz wheel, like this thing. The problem with doing this is it's very easy to grind into the sheet metal so much that you're gonna make it really, really thin and then make it even more difficult for you to weld. Welding sheet metal is not that difficult, but some people have a tough time with it just because it's thin. This is just gonna make it thinner. And if you keep grinding down with this and then you try to weld through literally the thickness of like tin foil, you're gonna have a tough time welding. And then when you go to clean up the weld, because it is gonna be a MIG weld that you're gonna probably wanna just make look somewhat decent, if you go to grind that weld back down, what you're actually grinding down, you might be grinding through the weld that's on that thin metal, so then you'll like lose the weld. So I always use 80 grit just because it's the easiest way to get a clean finish without taking off too much of the metal that's underneath the paint or primer or whatever it is, you know, undercoating, whatever it is. So anyways, so in just a few minutes, I got all the paint off. That's nice clean metal. It's, you know, 80 grit, so it didn't thin it at all. And then, you know, I don't know if you can really see, but I DA'd in here. And then I only did really here because I'm gonna weld and then hammer and then weld. And then once I start to hammer this a little bit flatter, then I'll DA this because I can't really get the DA on this rippled metal. But either way, that's what I got going. Right side up's good. So, as you can see, I'm just kind of working my way around. A little bit short here, so there's kind of a big gap I had to fill, but whatever. I can fill the gap and then grind it all nice when it's done. You know, usually it's not how I do it on like restoration cars, but on this thing, it's perfect. So, literally just working my way around, hammering as I go. So kind of hammer it up, it'll start to stretch it out, get this flat, tack it, and then just, you know, literally work your way around. It's working out really nice. It's crazy looking because when you look at it from here, it looks like from here to here, it like goes in like this, but it actually doesn't. It's just the shape of the body, because there's like a body line here that comes out and then it goes in. But as you cut on this arc, it sort of does this weird, like, it's just shaped funny. But yeah, you see how it kind of like looks like it does that. But either way, it's a straight line. I'm just got a little bit more to do. I got a little filler piece I'm probably gonna make here, just so it's a little bit nicer. Then, you know, I'm not gonna just fill that with MIG weld. That's totally not how to do something. So just make a little piece. I mean, honestly, like sheet metal stuff, I don't even like to MIG weld it. But again, for building a, you know, for building like just a drift car that, you know, is gonna serve a purpose, this is how to do it. But honestly, with any sheet metal stuff, normally TIG weld it. just because you can hammer and dolly on a TIG weld all day and it won't crack, where a MIG weld, it gets hot and cold really fast. So what happens with a MIG weld is it's like a brittle weld. So if you were to hammer and dolly on it, it'll crack at the weld, where TIG welding doesn't do that. So, but again, for this, MIG welding is just fine.
Yo, call this one number right now.
Oh, yeah.
That. But for the vaccine.
This pretty much does it for today. If you look, this whole edge is welded except for a couple of big gaps. This is where when I hammered it in, it was short. So I'm gonna fill those gaps. I mean, I just filled that with a big weld, like a big long weld, just to kind of hold it while I hammered everything so I could get it into position to tack weld. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut that little bridge out of there, and then I'll just make a little filler piece out of some sheet metal, stick it in there and weld it up, and it'll be a lot nicer. Filling gaps like that is, well, you can do it. It's, I don't know, kind of ghetto to do it that way, so don't do that. And then same thing on these sides. I'm gonna make like a little filler piece here. But for the most part, I just wanted to show you what's going on. Same thing, little filler piece here, and then this will all be welded up. It's almost a shame that it's gonna be completely covered, because I'm actually like spending a little bit of time and making it somewhat nice. Like, it's not warped at all. It's pretty flat and metal finished and nice. But you know, what this will do is seal any smoke from going into the car. It'll seal any water from the wheels going into anywhere. So what I'll do is I'll go from the back side and I'll seam seal everything, just in case for whatever reason there might be like a little pinhole here or there, which I really don't think there is. But either way, all of this stuff is going to then get primed and painted, and it's going to be underneath the over fender. But it's basically just a way so my wheels will now clear, so it's capped off and looks pretty good. I got to get some new coilovers. These are I bought these years ago, like probably in 2010 or 11. I think they were 250 bucks on eBay. They're ISIS coilovers, and they've worked, but they're pretty crappy. The valving, they're super bouncy. They're just not that good. So I'm gonna get some BCs, I think, for it, and then I don't know. That's what's going on with this suspension. It has all Part Shop Max arms, and Part Shop Max arms, can't really tell, or I can't really see what's going on in there. But anyways, dual caliper setup. I can't remember who that's from, but regardless, the whole subframe's been out of the car. It's all been painted. I mean, it's a little crusty looking right now, but just because it's, I don't know, getting a bunch of dust and everything blown all over it. But all this stuff is going to get cleaned up. But for now, I'm just excited how the wheel wells are coming out. Again, I'm only doing this to seal up the car so smoke doesn't go into the car. You know, and then the over fenders going on. So anyways, that's it for this video. I know that this isn't done, but maybe in the next one or whatever, I'll show you it done. I just haven't uploaded in a while, so I'm gonna upload a video. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit the thumbs up. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. And if you're not subscribing, subscribe. Have a good one, guys. See you tomorrow.